Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a filing from Landstar System, a big player in the trucking and logistics world. It's a bit like a roller coaster because while they're hauling freight, they've also hit a bump in the road with a supply chain issue. We'll unpack what that means for their financials and future. This filing, dated April 25, 2025, is a Form 8K, which companies use to report major events to the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC. Think of it as an, oh, something happened report. In Landstar's case, it's a mixed bag of financial highlights and a delayed earnings release due to a fraud incident. The first bit we are looking at talks about Landstar announcing some good financial stuff from the first quarter, but it's quickly followed by a disclaimer. Basically, they're saying this information isn't officially filed for legal purposes yet. It's a sneak peek, but not the full story. This part is where things get interesting. Landstar says they're pushing back their first quarter earnings release and their conference call with analysts. It was supposed to be in late April, but now it's in May. Why? Because of a supply chain fraud they found. They're also going to file a form to ask for more time to file their full quarterly report. This form gives them an extra 5 days, but they expect to file the report by May 13, 2025. Anyway. Now let's zoom out a bit. Back in early April, they mentioned this supply chain fraud that didn't involve their main trucking business. It's this fraud that's causing them to reevaluate some accounting and internal controls, which is why they need more time. The press release attached to this filing gives us more detail, but remember, the information in it isn't officially filed either. Now let's step back and consider what's going on. Landstar, like any big logistics company, moves a lot of goods. When a supply chain fraud pops up, it can mess with their numbers and their reputation. The delay in the earnings release tells us they're taking this seriously, which is what investors want to see. What could this mean? It could mean a hit to their profits, at least in the short term. It could also mean they need to spend more money on security and internal controls to prevent this from happening again. That could squeeze their profit margins. On the other hand, being transparent about the problem and taking steps to fix it can build trust with investors and customers. In the long run, that trust can pay off. So what's my take? Landstar is facing a challenge, but they seem to be handling it responsibly. The delay is a red flag, but their willingness to disclose the issue is a good sign. Investors should keep an eye on how this plays out in the coming quarters. The key will be how quickly they can resolve the fraud issue and get back on track. Looking ahead, Landstar needs to focus on a few things. First, they need to get to the bottom of this fraud and make sure it doesn't happen again. That means beefing up their internal controls and maybe even re-evaluating their supply chain partnerships. Second, they need to communicate clearly with investors about the impact of the fraud on their financials. No one likes surprises. Finally, they need to keep their core trucking business strong. That's where they make most of their money, and they can't afford to let this fraud distract them from that. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe for more corporate deep dives.